Nation, presented by Hercules Tires, right on our strength. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Erin, Hampton, Steve Post here. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Fantastic. Oh, are you kidding me? Just living the dream. It's all great.
Really?
Everything is well, yeah. Everything is well. Did you ever do quarter midget racing?
Yeah, that's how I started.
I thought that was how you started. Have you ever been to the track over in Salisbury, North Carolina?
I've never actually taken a ride over. I've heard great things about it. But...
Oh my God. I stopped there. I was headed up to South Boston to watch some late models at the car school.
Yeah.
And I never hear about it. I follow them on Facebook, but for whatever reason, it never triggers that they're racing.
Yeah.
And I ran into a friend last week, Heather Kinsel, who used to work in the sport. I ran into her at a meeting function here in town. And she said, yeah, we got one more race this week. I said, wait a minute, you're racing this weekend? And I said, yes, they raced all day Saturday. I stopped here. This place is unreal. On our social media page, on our Facebook group, I did a Tales from the Road from there. But Bobby Labonte was very involved.
Yeah.
Bobby is a quarter midget guy, was very involved when his kids were young. And this is a state-of-the-art facility. I mean, this is just spectacular. And they had 114 kids out there on Saturday racing.
That's awesome.
They're saying North Carolina might be as one of the largest quarter midget associations in the country.
That's great to hear. So the track I grew up racing at, Silver City in Connecticut, is also where Doug Colby,
you and Colby,
Joey Logano, David Gravel, few decent alumni from there. And they've actually been struggling with car counts. So they actually just this year, one of the past members started a driver development program. He bought a bunch of old cars, and they've been, it's a really neat deal. So if there's anyone up in the Connecticut, New England area that's interested, go check it out on their Facebook page. But they're trying to recruit. So it's great to hear that North Carolina's got a strong
I just saw this, and the facility is spacious. There's a lot of room. I was talking to Heather, my friend, and they all go out Friday afternoon, and they all camp. And this weekend on Friday night, they all trick-or-treated to each other's motor coaches in pit area. And then up Saturday, and they had doubleheader racing. And it's just a social thing. Yeah. And it's a phenomenal thing. But, I mean, quarter midget racing is unreal when done properly.
Yeah.
It's a great stepping stone. And, boy, I'm telling you what they do here in North Carolina is phenomenal.
That's awesome. Some of my best childhood memories are from the quarter midget track. My dad passed away when I was in high school. So those memories, we used to do that.
Him racing.
Yeah, we had a little motorhome, and we would take it for the big races, and so that just brings back all sorts of wonderful memories. Talking about trick or treating, cool. We used to do a costume contest. One time, I won as a Smurf.
There you go, as a Smurf. Oh, we need to find photographic evidence of that.
We'll find it.
I mean, and then is everything here in North Carolina. It's just fun to see the connections. The Buzzy family, they do drivetrain work. They're involved everywhere. But Billy Scott, who's over at Stewart House Racing, his kids race. They're very involved with it. And it's just, there's a lot of, so-and-so's a mechanic on this cup team. Their kids race. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful setting. Yeah. I mean, facility-wise, it's state-of-the-art. I mean, it's beautiful. An access road around the outside. The seating is elevated so you can see everything. Wow. I mean, they've got a tech shed, a full building tech shed. They've got the staging area is all covered. So,
nice.
It's just,
See, I'm a little afraid to take Kate out there. See, John Bickford has offered that they have a quarter midget laying around, and Kate is all about horses, 100%. But I'm a little afraid if she gets there and there's a seat open.
Yeah, no, I think you'd be onto something there.
So we can't do both. We know racing.
You barely do one, right?
Exactly.
You barely do one.
She does not pick the cheap sport.
No.
So but I would love to see
so,
the place.
Those of you involved with quarter midget racing, whether it's here in North Carolina or across the country, kudos to you. And it's all volunteers.
Yep.
And I love this because you can imagine everybody wants the club, but nobody wants to volunteer to do things. So they're full-scale animal features coming up, official in turn 1, so-and-so, official in turn 2, so-and-so, we need so-and-so and so-and-so scoring. And so they just delegate.
Yeah. And
I was talking to Heather, she has to score a couple of races for other series, and they all just go up and score the races, and then they come down and spend time with it. I mean, it's just the quarter midget racing. Kudos to everyone involved with that, because you're starting there. You never know what you're starting there.
Yeah.
We'll look at the little track in Connecticut, what that spawned. I mean, it's unreal.
And it's to me, even more importantly, is a lifelong friendship. My dad's best friend was someone we met through quarter midgets, and my mom has stayed in touch with his wife, and I think of my friendships with Doug Kobe, all these people.
Yeah,
it's like, it's not just the racing.
No, it's not just the racing. Exactly.
It's the community.
Neat stuff. Fun stuff. That was cool. I had, didn't even have that in my notes. I kind of just, it struck me when the music was playing that I did get out to see that. And I knew it was part of your past. So neat stuff. Let's get to our Hefner Racing product hot topics. There is a series of sprint cars, the Bandit Outlaw Sprint Series. And it started, I believe, this year. They've ran 14 times this year down in Texas. And open engines, 1,500 pounds, no adjustable wings. What
is open engines? Like, it can be as big as you want?
Or as little as you want.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. What's his name? The 1305 guy that is, may have won the championship. He won one of the races. I don't know if it was the 305. I don't know. Roger Crockett. And, Dylan Westbrook won on Friday night, and he's a 360 racer.
Yeah. Depending on the track.
Well, the track and the tire.
Yeah.
That's what depends on what you do. So they started this season. This past weekend, they were at Texas Motor Speedway, the dirt track there, right off the big NASCAR track. And they had Texas Throwback Weekend. They had these are just the sprint car. There was a Dale Earnhardt black number 3 sprint car. Jeff Gordon won. Jimmy Johnson won. Roger Crockett won with that. There was the Lance Deweese sprint car, a 461.
Yeah, I saw that.
A Walt Dyer's machine. Friday night, it was Dylan Westbrook. And what the deal, which struck me weird about this is they're racing at Texas Motor Speedway, and ASCS was just a Mesquite.
Yeah.
Which is like very, very close. But ASCS got rained out Friday night, or weathered out. They couldn't get onto their track. So Dylan Westbrook just headed over to Dallas-Fort Worth and picked up the win. And Saturday, Roger Crockett in the Jimmy Johnson paint scheme picked up the win. We haven't talked to Roger in some time.
Yeah.
So we're going to dial him up today. So we're going to talk to Roger Crockett. Lernerville, the Steel City Stampede. I love this story. Zach Hampton, a racer from Indiana, first ever trip to Lernerville. Boom.
Yeah.
And he bested AJ Flick, Cy Lynch, Carl Bowser, and Brandon Mattis. So you just
good
rolled
company.
In there.
Yeah.
Well, I looked at Zach Hampton's numbers, and what Zach did this year is he traveled and did all-star races and World of Outlaw races, and in complete honesty, he finished second at Attica on their opening night. He only had one other top 10 finish all year.
Wow.
10th place at Selinsgrove. But when you look at the big races, the King's Royals and the World of Outlaws and everyone, he was at all of them. And the floggings, which we've talked about this a lot of times, when you go out and you run with the World of Outlaws or the All-Stars, especially as a new team, when do the floggings start to pay off? Looks like for Zach Hampton, the floggings have paid off.
I'd say.
I mean, so, the 3 top 10s this year. And he's ran, I don't know, he's probably ran 35 or 40 times. So he's ran a lot. He ran a lot of races. He might have even ran up to 50. And you'd see, 29th at this World of Outlaw race, which means you didn't qualify. And, but
you're learning every time.
Exactly. And look, you go, and then to finish ahead of AJ Flick, Cy Lynch, Carl Bowser, and Brandon Mattis. Well, obviously.
At Lernerville.
Yeah, at Lernerville. Kudos to Zach Hampton. Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. They were at the Winter Nationals at Devil's Bowl, weathered out. It didn't really rain out. The facility just had too much water. Saturday, J.J. Hickle. Remember, that's when we first talked to him, was after he swept Devil's Bowl. He's 3 for 3 at Devil's Bowl. Hickle, Blake Hahn, Sam Aferteep Jr., Dylan Westbrook, and how about Johnny Herrera finishes 5th?
There he is,
Hollywood. Old Hollywood. Must have been TV cameras there or something for Hollywood to show up. He only goes to the big ones like that. Fun stuff. Not a lot of racing going on, but I one of the things I do, there's a sprint car stats page, and you go on there, and it's just fascinating. I love going on there and bombing around. And we look at 2021 410 race winners. Brad Sweet, not a shocker, leads with 17. David Gravel, not a shocker, leads with 13. Kyle Larson, not a shocker, at 11.
But only probably ran how many sprint cars?
Yeah, no, he didn't run like 20-some. Yeah. And one of them was a King's Royal, and one of them was a Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Carson Macedo has 11 wins. Anthony Macri has 11 wins, and Brent Marks, double-digit wins. So I just find that fascinating when you look at those, and when you kind of look, there's some that don't shock you, but there's some like, And when you look like at Brent Marks, what he's been through this year, that's with 2 different teams. Macri, running in Pennsylvania, but he went over to West Virginia and won a couple times. I mean, I love it. Now, that's the 410 win list. on the fort, but there's a couple of guys that have had more wins than all those guys, and they're both in California. Dominic Scelzi has 8 410 wins, but 13 360 wins. Dominic Scelzi has won 21 times.
That's
and
awesome.
They're not done out there in California.
I saw his post. He wants a few more on there.
Well, greedy little snot-nosed kid.
It's Dominic.
I mean, yeah, I remember when we used to have to call him and he had to go to the teacher's lounge to call in the Wing Nation. Yeah, I remember you had to go to the teacher's lounge. Now look at him, winning all these races, taking all the money from these racers out there. Well, Dominic Scelzi. And then Justin Sanders, 4 410 wins with the King of the West out there. 16 360 wins, 20 wins. Justin's a guy, I don't know what we're going to have to do here. I need to get with Craig on this. Justin's a guy that works like 852 hours. One time we did shows in January. One of the dumbest ideas we ever did. Krager and I might have been Kendra and I.
Yeah, I think it was.
Were you involved with that?
No, I think it was before my time.
Kendra and I.
Yeah.
Well, let's do shows in January. Yeah. We'll talk to Australian guys. Yeah. Well, when you look at the calendar, poor old guy from Ohio, been running 360s forever. Hannigan, Randy Hannigan.
Randy Hannigan, yeah.
Poor old Randy Hannigan, bless his heart. He woke up in the middle of the night every Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was, and called in with the results. And we decided we're not going to do January anymore. Sounded good on paper, but we were all right. But bless his heart, Randy Hannigan.
He probably didn't mind being up there.
Randy is a great guy. But so Sanders is one of those guys that we never can get him on. It's like his work schedule. So I don't know. 21 wins for Dominic Scelzi. Man, what a year.
Yeah.
Good stuff. There you have it, your Hefner Racing product, Hot Topics. Hefner Racing Products has a website that is easy to shop the entire line of Hefner Racing products.
It's hrpracing.com, and you can go be it on your desktop or right on your phone. First-time online orders use promo code MRN at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Well, it's that time of year when you're building your shops. You're tearing your trailers apart.
Yeah.
If you're done for the year. You're reorganizing, or right now you're still racing a little bit, but you're not racing as much. I saw Danny Dietrich and some of the guys, Team has on the traditional side, are redoing their shops before they move in, and then once you get the shops done with all the Hefner Racing product organizing stuff, then you got the trailer, and then you do that.
Yep.
So hrpracing.com. And then the mule, exactly 10% off online orders with MRN. Where am I at here? Okay, yeah, Devil's Bowl. That's where I'm at. Well, I'm not there. I'm in Concord in the Hercules Tire Studios is where I'm at. It was the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. Dylan Westbrook leading, J.J. Hickle doing the chasing. Here's Brian Hulbert with the call on Racing Boys and Flow Racing.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
J.J. Hickle swept the weekend here in March. He's going to try to add a third one here. He's come after Westbrook to the front straightaway. Dylan's going to hold on to it by 0.2 of a second. Dylan Westbrook, but not for long. J.J. Hickle down to the bottom. You've got a new leader to the back straightaway.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the world of outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Pride. Passion. Performance. We are Team Dryden.
Hey Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honey Crisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey!
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy.
Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
Those sprint cars we talked about down in Texas, the throwback sprint cars, looked so cool.
They did.
I mean, they really did.
They did a great job with the actual wraps or the paint schemes.
The wraps, the paint schemes, everything were good. And then the late models looked good as well. And so, you had Lance DeWeese, and you had Jeff Gordon, and you had Dale Earnhardt with the sprint cars. And then you had this guy that had a Jimmy Johnson car. Well, he decided to show everyone up because a wrapped sprint car looks good, but a wrapped sprint car in victory lane looks even better. And the guy who did that with the Jimmy Johnson throwback down in Texas is Roger Crockett, joins us on the Dry Dean Hotline. Hello, Roger. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
And at least do my part racing and get on here once a year. I'm glad we're able to do that again.
I was thinking that, too. I'm like, we talked to you once a year, and this year you hadn't been racing much. But, boy, when you went to Texas, second place on Friday night, and you picked up the win on Saturday night, looks like you had that car rolling pretty well.
Yeah, we've been working on some different things. We messed with some stuff actually around Knoxville time with the 410 and found some speed. We were terrible later in the night, but we just keep plugging away at it, and we've been able to really make some gains on our car. Man, this last part of the season, we've been really, really fast every time we race.
Well, I guess so. You parked in victory lane. Roger, talk about the rules package for this Bandit series, the open engine, but what is the tire rule? Because I saw like in some of your quotes after the race that you had to manage the tire a little bit.
Yeah, so the tire rule they have, you have to run the same pair of tires in the heat race and the main event, so both rear tires. And also what's a little bit different is you have to run a 92-inch left rear. So, pretty much everybody, unless they've got some special tires ordered or something, they're on 12 to 13 inches of stagger. So, 20 degrees wing angle max and a lot of stagger and no bleeders in your tires. We're all coming in 10 pounds in the right rear, 8 in the left rear. It makes it to where it's really hard to get the car hooked up and get traction. And it's definitely a challenge. The first night it definitely threw a little curveball at us, more so than I thought it would. And we got it really good by the feature, but, sometimes it's a little bit too late, and we were able to come out on Saturday, and we were really good from the get-go.
So I find that fascinating because the bleeder obviously is adjustment that happens during a race. You're not allowed to adjust the wings. So this really is set it and forget it and go racing.
Yeah, it is. It makes it once you're in the car pushed off, you have zero adjustment. So it's just, you got to figure it out. So that part, it's cool. And, we've seen obviously some people run 410s, people run 360s, and we're trying to get a few more nights on our motor to get it freshened. And man, we got down there and hot lap the first time, man, maybe we should have brought the 360 because it was, like I said, really hard to get traction and get grip. And that place down there it gets pretty slick, but unfortunately, it's pretty hard on tires at times too. So that was part of managing tires. It had a lot of tire wear. And so, like Friday, Dylan Westbrook, he won the thing, and he came after his heat race, and nobody thought he'd make it through the feature. And he was able to make it through there. I don't think he could have gone a couple more laps, but it's part of it, is managing the tire. And I think that's the scenario with, if he had a 410, I think it's enough hard on tires, it probably wouldn't have made it. So there's certainly advantages to both sides of that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, Roger. How do you manage a tire? I know that surface there at Texas Motor Speedway can be a little abrasive. You have a 410, and it's not something that we're totally used to. We're not used to conserving a tire from the heat race all the way through the feature. How do you do that? How do you manage that but yet maintain speed?
So, yeah, really, you just got to really try to not spin the tire. On Saturday, we were able to get the lead on the heat race right away, and one end of the track was a lot wetter than the other side. So on the wet end, I was, I could drive it as hard as I wanted to, and the other end, I would roll through there about half throttle and just try and not wear anything out because 25 laps there is quite a bit, and even in the main event, I was able to run up in the cushion still, even though it had laid rubber on the bottom. Eventually, about partway through the race, we were able to keep running high as long as I thought I could still make speed and not move into that rubber until as late as possible.
So wait, one end of the track was wet and one end was it dry? Does the grandstands have some shade there? What was that about? It took rubber on the bottom of both ends, but probably partly from the wind or something. The one end, in turns 3 and 4, it stayed a lot wetter and it had a really nice cushion all night. And 1 and 2, it had one, but it got all up to the wall, and then as guys quit running up there, I think it started getting more abrasive down the bottom, and that's when it got rubber again down there.
I marvel at what you sprint car drivers do, and you've added another layer to it because I never think about, I think about turns, you see someone running the bottom of one side and the top and that sort of thing. But when you have a situation like that, that's fascinating. It really is. It's just amazing. It really is. Roger, the throwback paint schemes, where did this come about, and why did you go with Jimmy Johnson on your car?
They offered up a pretty big deal. I think it was like $5,000 to win the throwback scheme, and then like maybe 1,000 or 1,500 for second and 500 for third. And we do, I do graphics and embroidery and all that stuff. And so, looking at the rules package, the other thing was you got to weigh 1,500 pounds, regardless of what motor you have. So I already knew I was going to need to add weight with the 410. So I thought, well, I might as well wrap my car. That's about 16 pounds. And, might as well participate in the throwback scheme. And after doing a little bit of research, I really admire people that can dominate something. And Jimmy Johnson had done so at that track and that facility with most wins, top fives, top tens, laps led. He led in every category. And then come to find out, they named Victory Circle over there, Jimmy Johnson, Victory Circle last October. So I thought, man, that's right up my alley to choose somebody like that I respected a lot when he raced and was dominating as well. So I was happy to go with that scheme because of all those reasons.
Now, the 48 had a number of different paint schemes over the years. Why that particular one?
That was the last race he won at Texas Motor Speedway. Was in that
I
paint
knew
scheme.
there was a reason.
Were you involved? You said you wrapped yours. Were you involved with wrapping some of the other cars as well?
Nope, just mine.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because people did a nice job. There was very cool.
There was some definitely. People did some good work on all the different cars that did it and participated. It was cool.
So how is the screen printing or whatever graphics and embroidery? I saw a lot of your products in Knoxville this year. How's the business going?
Yeah, it's doing good. Last year was a little bit tough, obviously, with different things. And as events have been full force this year, we're very fortunate to have a lot of great customers. And we do a ton of hats and jackets and stuff like that with embroidery. And getting to do more cars. We did Sheldon's Knoxville car this year, and we did Rico's Rowdy car as far as the graphic stuff. So we're really looking forward to continue to grow and do more in that direction as well.
Now I watched you or followed along with you this year. It's a good problem that your business is growing, but did it infringe upon your racing some this year?
Absolutely. Yeah. We just got to keep your priorities straight, and we can't let people down. That's definitely our first thing, is to be there for people when they need things. And a lot of different reasons kind of turned us to end up not running a full point schedule this year. And like you mentioned, the business had a lot to do with that. And where we live, we got to travel quite a bit to race most of the time. So we just kind of assessed what we were doing, and we're going to actually try and run more 410 stuff next year and have some pretty big goals ahead in the next few years. We just got to try and figure out how to get there.
Wow. There's not much left on the calendar, the schedule for the year. Are you going to do short track nationals?
We're going to try. I had some plans that changed a little bit in the last few days here. So we've got a pretty busy work week. We're going to do our best to try and make it there Friday and run this weekend. That's definitely a good event to be at. We just missed out on winning it last year, and so it'd be nice to come back and try and get the next couple spots we didn't get last year.
What really struck me, Roger, is with your limited schedule this year is, it's funny, you pay attention, but I pay attention, but I'm not paying attention. It's like, and I tuned in to the Crockett Memorial, okay, and you finished 10th and then second, led a bunch of laps. For not running much this year, you've got to feel pretty good about the performance of your race cars. That's a 360 race. You've talked about the 410 as well. You've got to feel pretty good with what you have put on the racetrack, especially this fall.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we've stumbled upon some things that work really well for us, and primarily like the speed we've had with the 410's been I've been super happy with to start the night. And for us, we're not racing 90 races a year for the last 5-6 years. I don't think I've run 90 races in 5 or 6 years, and you're competing against guys that do that every year. And so I just feel like I've got to try and figure out a way in the shop to stumble upon something that maybe they don't have time to do, because I can't catch up all that experience and tinkering on my car. So we just work really, really hard. Brandy and I try and work really hard and figure out some different ways that gets the car good for how I want it to go. And we've definitely made a ton of progress, and we've been able to now apply that to our 360 stuff. And we've been, like you said, really, really fast, and our speed's been good. And it's easy to get disappointed with running second here and there, but we haven't been off the top two since that first night at Lucas. I think 5 races in a row or something. Nice. So definitely happy with that. We just got to race a little bit more, and I've got to, sometimes all it takes is one mistake a night, and that can cost you a win or second or third or wherever you're at. So just got to eliminate that and keep plugging away here at the shop on it.
I guess so, man. I love it. I'll tell you what, lots of optimism, lots of excitement on the business front and on the racing front as well, including that win on Saturday night. It was your third win of the season. You won a couple of ASCS Sooner races earlier. Roger, it is always a pleasure to talk. How about this? Go win some races early next year and in the summer and in the fall, and we'll talk to you 2 or 3 times next year.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're going to try and, I'm hoping to run maybe 30 or 40 410 races next year is our goal for next year. So definitely plan on trying to win some of them, that's for sure.
There we go. Appreciate the time. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you, guys.
You got it. Roger Crockett joining us here. What, man, that's just a good dude.
It is.
That's just a good dude, yes. A good racer. I'll never forget the first time we met him was Knoxville. He raced his way into the A-Main.
Mm-hmm. Remember that.
With no crew.
Yeah,
like there was, it might have been him and Brandy or someone else. And remember, we tracked him down, and then everyone flew down from Washington like on Thursday or Friday morning.
Yeah.
I mean, that son of a gun put it in the A-Main.
That's impressive. Yeah, I've known for a long time when he was driving the Harley Davidson, the 11 car.
Yeah, man, he's a good guy. Gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I talked to him a couple of years ago at PRI for a while. Just good folks, good folks. You love to see it and love to see. I'm honest with it. I was like, you follow along and you don't follow along, and I'm watching the hockey, and I'm like, Roger Crockett. I said, we haven't seen much of him this year. And that's when I start, but he's doing the same thing he's always done, right up at the front of the field. It's like good stuff for sure. Speaking of good stuff, Matt Campbell ended his fabulous Lincoln Speedway season in Victory Lane. We're going to talk to him in just a moment.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Over 200 events from coast to coast, and they're celebrating 30 years of Scattering Soil, the American Sprint Car Series. The world's largest sprint car stationing body is bringing more thrills with wing and even more non-wing action in 2021. 11 regional tours, the national tour. No matter where you are, we're coming to a track near you. Can't be there? Get double the streaming fun with Racing Boys and FlowRacing.com, bringing all the adrenaline to your favorite streaming device. See the full lineup of this now at ASCSRacing.com.
Circle B Diecast is the new diecast outlet from Plan B Sales. What started as Lionel and Chase Authentics apparel distributor has grown into the largest distributor of diecast and now includes Auto World Greenlight Collectibles, Brand Art, Sam Bass Artwork, and University of Racing lines. They have a huge inventory. The folks at Circle B Diecast love racing and support drivers like Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, and many others with sponsorships and partnerships. And on orders over $20, use promo code MRN for free shipping. Check them out, circlebdiecast.com.
So 2 things happened Saturday in Pennsylvania. Well, a lot of things happened Saturday in Pennsylvania. But a couple of things happened at the fabulous Lincoln Speedway. Most importantly, well, no, I don't know if it's most importantly, the countdown clock for the what do they call that one? Icebreaker. The countdown clock for the Icebreaker has tricked in, but what has to happen for that to happen is that this season has to be over. And when they got done on Saturday evening, with a little bit of a rain delay, it was Matt Campbell in the Premier number 21 in Victory Lane. He joins us on the Dry Dean Hotline. Hello, Matt. Welcome to Wing Nation.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It has got to be great. I know you'd like to win every time you go out, but it's got to be nice to at least get one at the end of the season there at the home track, if you will.
Yeah, I really wanted one there. I haven't. Last one I got there was in 2019 in my own car, and kind of we ran a limited schedule. So for the last couple of years, I didn't get to run there a whole lot. So this year was the first year I got to run everything, because when I ran my own deal, we wouldn't start until about the summer. So I'd missed about the first half of the year. That's. I'm happy we were able to get one. I was hoping we'd get it sooner, but I'll take it getting it on the last one too, but just trying to get the car right there, get a program. I went from running Maxims, triple X's, so running switch to the Penske shocks at that program. When you build a program up and have years of notes, that really helps. So we've had to, learn how to get the cars fit for me. And, that it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But I think finally now we got things going in the right direction. We've had some bad luck at the end of the year here. The results really haven't showed, but we've had the race cars working the way we want. We've been pretty content with that.
Well, you certainly did the other night. So you led at least the second half of the race, and the caution comes out on the last lap. What are your emotions when here you are a lap away from a win on the last race of the year? What were your thoughts when that caution came out?
I mean, it was kind of like the same thing that happened when we at the Grove this year. We kept having cautions at the end, and it's like, come on, guys, I just want to finish this thing, Especially when, I knew I had gotten slowed up a couple times by the lap traffic, but I had really made a lot of space to protect myself, early on once we got going, because we went pretty much caution free for almost the rest of the race. So, it's a thing that sucks about that is now you got everyone bunched up and you had a rhythm going, you had momentum, and speed built up. Now you got to start back over, and you're starting back with these guys now right on you. So, yeah, no, it's definitely what you don't. When you're leading, you don't want that on the last lap. But we did what we had to do to hold on and keep the win.
Do you run what you want to do through your mind when you're riding around under caution like that?
Yeah. You gotta. The thing is, you gotta know who you're racing around, and you gotta, predict what they're going to be doing. You gotta look at the board. You see who's going to be behind you, and hey, well, they usually tend to do this. It's all about knowing your competition, and knowing what your car's like as well too. Like, I knew I was good on the bottom, so I knew I needed to use some bottom to some of my advantage on that restart, because I knew it probably would get to the point where I'd have to move around. So, in the initial interview when they did in Victory Lane, I kind of critiqued myself a little bit. I mean, there was maybe some small stuff I'd change, but I went back and I watched the replay. I like watching the replays of all my races. You can learn a lot by going back and looking, and you can see where you make mistakes and where you can improve and get better at. But so I think we pretty much handled it the way we needed to. You gotta keep your car under you. You gotta keep your momentum built, and a guy's beside you. You gotta keep core momentum going. So I'm pretty happy with the result.
So Matt, when you analyze what you did after the restart, you knew that Devin was going to pull a big slider on you, which he did. You dove back under him. But what's the strategy there? Is it to kind of kill his momentum a little bit, to make sure you kind of take his line away? Like, how can you be a little bit defensive but yet make sure you can hold him off?
Well, I've been always fortunate to surround myself with people with a lot of knowledge in this sport. I talk to them and take in a lot of what they say, and that's where I've learned to love a good bit on what I can improve on and be better at. To handle situations like that. Mm-hmm. And the thing about when a big slide like that, you'll lose you lose your forward momentum, because at some point you're going to have to slow the car down to square up and go straight. Mm-hmm. You're going sideways, and that's the big thing about them is those momentum. So I knew I had to position myself where I could not lose my momentum and be able to turn and go under, and then I can even use the air to my advantage on the straightway a little bit to to help slow them up behind me from trying to get some momentum, go back going. So I mean, it's just a little bit of experience. I mean, I have been doing this a while. I haven't been racing as much as I wanted to recently. Well, now until this year I have been, but lap time and experience what helps to handle situations on that, how to try to come out on top. It's the same thing. You watch these guys, your Lance Luises and stuff like that. That they really have a lot of seat time in the car, and they know how to handle a situation, because they've been in it about 100 times before. So no, I think we did what we had to do, and it was pretty awesome to be able to get that by the end of the year, and maybe we can get one more before we end up the season.
You when you're talking about taking the air off from somebody going down the straightaway, I'm like, he must have been talking to Lance DeWeese. I'm glad you mentioned Lance by name, because we've had Lance on and he's talked with how he messes with other people in a perfectly competitive, great sense. And it is lessons learned like that put you in good shape. Man, I have a final question for you here. What has this season, though, overall been like? You have ran and been part of a small family operation, you and your dad. You get the call for Jerry Parrish to run that 21 car. You're a driver now. You pick up a ride with a team that's going to run a lot more. Just in general terms, what has this year been like for you as a young race car driver that wants to continue to climb the ladder?
Oh, it's definitely you get to experience a lot more. I've when we started this deal early at the beginning of the year, it was most all the original team, but over time, them guys were at the point where they were ready to go and do other things. So about halfway through the year, I started to, reform the team and make it fitting for me. I was always told, you got to make things work your way. It's hard to go into somewhere unless you're just showing up. And I'm not just showing up, hopping in the seat. I like being involved in everything. I do my own maintenance. I work on everything myself. I like to know what's going on. I'm one of them guys that I like to even know what's going on to the track, and I constantly talk to my crew chief to know, I like to know what changes are being made in the car, because then I can learn what them changes react in the car. So when I'm feeling something in it, I can know how better to, explain what the car is doing, and maybe, just make things more fluent and easier. We've really, we've made changes and all throughout the year, and the big thing was a good friend, Kirk Weiss, which is actually Lance's brother, and that's why I talk about Lance, because I know they've worked together for a long time, and he's been crew chiefing for me, and we've worked together in the past and worked really well together, and that's been a big help for us, having him there, and and having our good crew help, like Lynn and Pickles helping us there. I think we're getting our shock program where we want. We got our race cars where we want. These new Triple X's, they're working out really good for us. And setup wise, we've kind of had get more of a game plan. It's all about you got to be freed up again at night. Can't be a little too tight. We've been trying to find the perfect balance point. You want to be hooked up, but you don't want to be too free. Mm-hmm. I think. I know for one thing, by racing a lot more, it definitely has helped me a lot more. I've had a lot more experiences than what I've had before. When you race a lot more, it's like packing what I was doing over years before. So it's really helped me grow, and staying consistent, staying in the seat a lot more definitely helps as a driver. It helps to keep you on edge, keep you updated, because you're constantly learning in this sport. You won't ever stop. 30 years from now, if I'm still racing, I'll still agree with that and say I'm still learning. You got to try to stay ahead of the curve. But we got things going the way we want, and I can't be happier. Thanks, Jerry, for think about my side so far. Through the year and through all the highs and lows, and we're getting where we want to be. So, it should be pretty fun next year. And, all our sponsors that help to make that possible, like Premier, H&H, Frickers, Golf Cart Services, Jim Lowe Snapple on Mama's Pizza, our product sponsors, Triple X, Penske Racing Shop, Smith Titanium, Winners Racing, Tiger Wheels. These guys just really helped to, make this program happen. Beer Hill Gang, got to put a shout out to him and Stu, for helping us out this year. It's been fun. It's been a long year. I'm kind of, now that we're running good, I don't want it to end, but it's field season, you can really, really get things squared away for next year, and, I'm excited for that. Just have to see what happens.
Going to be fun, that's for sure. You were doing really well, Matt, until you mentioned Brinker's fries. Now I'm going to be craving Brinker's fries. Oh, man, that is great. Matt, congratulations on the win. Thanks for the time. Wish you the best. I know there's a race or two left for you at BAPS, and wish you the best there and on into the offseason into next year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
There we go. Matt Campbell. You know, when you think about that, Erin, and when he said that, for years and years and years and years and years and years, that was Brian Monteith in that 21.
Yep.
And Brian said, when these guys stop racing, I'm going to stop racing. And I talked to the crew guys, and they said, when Brian stops racing, I'm going to stop racing. And I don't know what happened, but last year, Brian was no longer part of that program. And to listen to Matt and say what we started with these guys, but then we had to change people, they didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah, because those crew guys that were on Brian's car were like, we're Brian's guys. And literally, and this is not a slam on Matt or anyone else, but they all did it together. And when you change a main portion like that, it changes everything. Mm-hmm. And in complete honesty, Brian was a show up with a helmet bag and drive the race car, and Matt wants to work on the car. And so I think the one we need to honor or mention here is Jerry Parrish, to have the patience to work through this different thing and not boot the kid out. You know, on July 15th when he hadn't won a race, because he won one July 30th, he won one now, and then they bring in Kirk DeWeese, for God's sake. Yeah. You know, so I mean, I think they're setting themselves up well. Yeah. I like it. I really do. Good stuff. Appreciate Matt Campbell joining us here today. Sunoco is a proud partner of Wing Nation. Not all fuels are created equal, so fill up with Sunoco Ultratech. Sunoco Ultratech is a top-tier detergent gasoline that is proven to make your engine run cleaner, longer, and more efficiently. Using the same detergent package as what is blended into some of Sunoco's high-performance race fuels, you can trust Ultratech for your everyday race. Whether you're headed to the track or just hitting the road, fill up with Sunoco Ultratech and fuel your best.
Just like racing components, Aggressive Hydraulics purpose builds hydraulic cylinders to perform for customer-specific applications. They design and manufacture mobile-style, single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. It's a no one-size-fits-all approach with Aggressive Hydraulics. Hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. They proudly design and manufacture all cylinders in the United States. Check out the video of their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Flow Racing is the home of grassroots racing, with over 1,300 races streaming live in 2021. Watch the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl, World 100, Dirt Late Model Dreams, Sweet 16, and much, much more. Subscribe today by going to flowracing.com/MRN. From sprint cars on dirt to SK Modifieds on pavement, arena cross, drag racing, and everything in between, it's here live and on demand. Subscribe today by going to flowracing.com/MRN. That's FLOracing.com/MRN. Wing Nation, continuing on, we're presented by Hercules Tires, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, one sprint car place in Knoxville, Iowa. Birthdays: Charles Dutch Bauman earlier this week, Floyd Trellis, Gordon Woolley, Dave Argabright has a birthday coming up on Friday, and the Buckeye Bullet, Dave Blaney, on Sunday. Today would have been the 120th birthday of John Ambler, a 1995 inductee into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, born in 1901. Along with his brother Bill, they built and owned cars in the 1920s and 30s. They were known as the Casting Brothers because of their skillful use of casting steel and aluminum. They built blocks, they built full race cars, aluminum tanks, hood covers, underpans. These guys apparently were craftsmen, and their cars were driven and parts were used by Ralph De Palma, Vern Orenduff, Ted Lynn, Chuck Tabor, Ken Fowler, and others. John passed away in 1979. He was inducted, along with his brother, in 1995 into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Takes those people that makes the parts and pieces.
Sure does.
And they're enshrined forever on the second floor of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. And we just had, who was it? Matt was just talking about the Triple X chassis.
Yep.
That's the raffle car. It's a Triple X chassis Moyle Racing engine car. It's the 14th annual raffle car preceding the Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
Yep, and it's $20 for one ticket or $6 for 100. And the biannual drawing will be next December 2022.
Ooh,
so with all your runs, you should be in perfect shape when we get this car.
I will be by the 2023 season.
You'll be ready
to go. I'll be ready to go. I mean, count me up.
All right, let's do it.
You buy the tickets.
I'll buy the tickets.
You buy the tickets. All right, here we go.
Deal. Oh, boy.
Oh, we've got ourselves into. Yeah, wouldn't that be? If they, in December of next year, Erin Evernham, I'm like, oh, man, I got to go through with this.
Then you are going to have to fight Ray for the seat.
Well,
though,
that's
so
fine. I'll let Ray have that. I'll let Ray.
No, you won't.
No, yeah, exactly. Oh, my God. I watched, we have Bobby Allen coming up on our show this week, and I watched the Ray Evernham, Tony Stewart, Bobby Allen interview from the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Oh, my gosh. Best ever.
That was fun.
Oh, Bobby Allen, just the best. Hey, next week, I want to mention this. I have a home track here. It's Millbridge Speedway. The Walkopedia, and I love that Brian Walker is sponsoring this. Walkopedia, Carolina Midget Showcase, Monday and Tuesday. CJ Leary, Brent Cruz. This is a kid we're watching out there. This kid is future rock star. Ryan Timms, we've had him on.
Yep.
He's the ASCS guy that we've had. Jade Avadizian. Yes,
there you
struggle
go.
with her name. She's a great young racer from California.
She's doing really
Jade
well.
is. Cannon McIntosh, Nick Hoffman, and just confirmed this morning, Christopher Bell. See Bell. It's at Millbridge Monday and Tuesday, or you can follow it on Dirt Vision. So the Walkopedia Carolina Midget Showdown next Monday and Tuesday. Can't wait to see what happens.
Get out there.
Yes, indeed. Wing Nation gear and apparel is available at www.wingnation.com. That's wingnation.com. You can follow along our social channels, Twitter, Facebook, and our YouTube page. Coming up on our Thursday podcast, Rico Abreu is going to be in the house. We're going to talk all things Trophy Cup. And coming up this weekend on our show on MAV TV and on Rev TV, Bobby Allen.
Oh, boy.
Yes, batten down the hatches. Bobby Allen sits down for a conversation. Yes, indeed. Great stuff. That is on Rev and Mav. That's Wing Nation presented by Sage Group. Again, we appreciate Roger Crockett and Matt Campbell for joining us. More important than all of that, though, thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires.